Bring you up to speed on what happens next. Well, here's what we've seen. We've seen that the bill has been passed through the Rajya Sabha. It's got the go-ahead there. 186-1 is how the Rajya Sabha voted. Well, what happens next? Of course, it has to come up in the Lok Sabha. That is where the bill is headed next. That's going to be the next big challenge. There's no time frame yet before the government. The big focus, of course, remains the finance bill. Just what happens to that being the big question at this moment. That's what the government is looking at. Once that bill goes to the Lok Sabha has to pass it by a two-third majority. After this, the bill is headed for the 28 state assemblies, 15 of which must ratify this bill, once again with a two-third majority. At the end of the day, of course, all that is left for the bill to be made into law is an approval by the President of India.
Well, we are finally joined now by Sunil Prabhu, fortunately. Sunil, give us an idea of where the government intends to get the support that it needs to comfortably push through the finance bill in Parliament, in the Lok Sabha, because it's not just the women's reservation bill that we are talking about.
Well, Vishnu, now that they've passed the first hurdle in the Rajya Sabha, it's now an incremental approach. Clearly, they realize that, as Mrs. Gandhi told Barka Dutt yesterday, it's a huge risk. They want to first pass the finance bill. That's the first priority of this government. That really will come into question by April 22nd, when technically and constitutionally they have to pass that finance bill. Of course, the BJP has promised those cut motions, and as you rightly said, it's a question of numbers. They will try to woo Mulayam as well as Lalu Prasad Yadav because they understand the eventuality of a possibility of an election. That's uppermost in their mind, but definitely that pressure of a rollback will be there. We've also seen Mamata Banerjee speak out. She also has put her opposition on the fuel price hike, so there will be some kind of compromise. Of course, now that the Prime Minister and as well as the Finance Minister, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, have made a categorical assertion that there will be no rollback, the Congress President herself asserting in no uncertain terms that the Finance Minister has done a good job, it will become a question of priorities and how to get those numbers. And as you rightly said, it will go back, Natasha, to the situation where we had in the run-up to 2009 elections, where they were looking for possible allies, and everybody will be wooed to see that these bills are passed.
Right. Interesting, Sunil, that you're saying anybody and everybody, of course, will be they will be in contact with. What's really the buzz, Sunil? What are you hearing? What's happening behind the scenes? What are the Congress's top troubleshooters up to?
Well, the Congress troubleshooters, that includes the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, the entire core group, the team of Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, Mr. Rajiv Shukla, who looks after and doubles up in the Rajya Sabha to get those numbers. It's very simple, of course, of the political secretary, Mr. Ahmed Patel. They want to see that the finance bill is passed. They've already tested the waters. They did an incremental approach. They've seen the reaction. They're seeing the reactions in the House today. They're seeing the public mood. They're gauging that situation. They know the inevitable, that nobody wants a Lok Sabha election. Nobody wants to go to the polls. And taking that into account, Natasha, the strategy is simple. Pass that finance bill and then test the waters. And if it's an opportune time and a win-win situation, after consulting everybody, speaking to everybody, they will go for that final plunge in the Lok Sabha.
Right, the numbers game ahead of the finance bill. Sunil Prabhu, thanks very much for joining us this evening with all those details.
Tuba.com